Hey YouTubers, it's me again. Thanks for coming back again. The the rarity that I'm doing two videos in within hours of each other is uh, is there and known to me because of the late hour. And you can thank my trusty cup of Bustelo for fostering my awakeness. And I decided to go and do another video on my uh, other Phantom Menace collectibles here that you see in front of you, the Applause Mega Collectibles. Qui-Gon, Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. 14-inch, I guess plastic or resin statues of each figure, with an electronic or light up lightsaber, and in a somewhat movie ish action pose, and really super detailed. I mean, I like to keep them in the boxes, but I'll be breaking these guys out to show you around the detail on them a little more and how super cool they actually are. And I will keep them displayed in the box, but for the purposes of this video, I will break them out so that we can see them in more exquisite detail. So a little word about them before I start getting into the detail. I mean, they came out when I talked earlier in one of the videos, with my action figure ring line on my ceiling. When I got to the Phantom Menace figures, when that was happening, the Star Wars fever pitch was at a mind-numbingly high level, and they were releasing. I mean, Lucasfilm. We're releasing anything and everything Star Wars or Phantom Menace. I mean, it was like unbelievable. Just I've seen it before, and I didn't think it would get any worse when the special editions came out, and even when the original versions, the original trilogy, when I was younger. Just the amount of things that they licensed, just every little kid's keychain and little mini figure has little mini erasers, and just I don't know who thinks of all this stuff to license, or if people call them up and say, hey, we want to license Chewbacca eraser heads, and then Lucasfilm says, hey, okay, or if it's the other way around, where Lucasfilm thinks of all the stuff they want to license. I don't know how it goes, but everything and anything under the sun had the Phantom Menace logo and name on it. Beyond anything I'd ever seen in my life. It was so inundating and so saturated after a while. But through it, some really super cool things did come out, and these are one of them. They were re-releasing. I guess you could get them at other places, but around where I was at, the only store that was selling them was JCPenney. And I don't know if they're JCPenney exclusive. I've never heard of that. But they would release them on a Friday. I don't know what was going on, but Friday they released, and they would. I think they did. That I think my memory is that they released them on a Friday. One of them got released on a Friday, and then it was out until they got sold out, which happened within days. And then the next one would get released like a week or two later. Not much. I mean, I had to keep going back and looking. Maybe 3 weeks. It seemed like it. So I mean, it might have been more than that. But if anybody knows that or remembers that, if they do, let me know. But it was very short amount of time in between, and the job I had, I had gotten, I was working like an earlier day job where I would get off of work at like 3:30, and the only JCPenney was about a half an hour away from me because of just traffic being the way it was. And I would just floor it to JCPenney after I found them first. But the first one that came out was, that I remember anyway, I think it was Qui-Gon, or Obi-Wan. I'm not too absolutely sure here. Yeah, I don't know. 6. I don't know if these numbers down at the bottom are telling me they're not. No, I think those are just run numbers, not actual which ones got released first. But anyway, so I would floor it, get to JCPenney, get through the crowds. It was in the summertime. I'm sweating and I'm stinking, and I'm going through the crowds in JCPenney, which that time of day was, a lot of cutie girls, shopping for clothes and makeup and their hair, and here I come, working in a warehouse job, just looking for Star Wars stuff. I wasn't raking them in at that point. I guess that was okay. I was getting my collectibles. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't know if the internet was there, and I wasn't really too active on it at that point. But I don't really know if there was any kind of word about how far Applause was going to go with this size collectible. They were making a lot of other static dolls, like vinyl figures and dolls. A lot of those. I saw those all over the place. But these, it was only these 3 that I knew they were making. They didn't make any large, like Gungans or Anakin or any of the other characters. It was just these 3 guys in this size and in this format, as I'm aware. And they're going on eBay, the last time I checked, for about as much as they're going on eBay lately, or last few years, for I think about as much as I paid for them when they first came out. So I'm not looking to sell them. I wasn't thinking about that anyway. I just thought they were so amazing, just because I hadn't seen anything to this level before, and I just was getting into this larger, excuse me, larger collectible kind of where Sideshow and companies like that are now. But yeah, so just that was my little story behind it. I was just a fiend trying to get these and running to the store to get them and running home with them and breaking them out, and finally got them collected. I do remember, though, there was a long window. I think Maul was the last one I got. Or no, I think it was Qui-Gon was the last one. It was Kenobi and then Maul and I think Qui-Gon. I'm going to say that. But one of them was a good couple weeks. I kept going back and kept going back and kept going back, and nothing. Then finally I didn't take a break, but I didn't start running my ass off getting there. I just, it was on the way home anyway, so I just, all right, I'll stop in, and boom, there it was. And they had like 5 of them, whereas before I would get there and there was like 2, so it was a good grab at the end. Thing is, one of the things I wish I would have done, and I didn't, is the display area that they had in JCPenney for these things. And they had other Star Wars collectibles there too. Collectibles, but Star Wars things in this little corner in the store. And they had a life-size pod racer Anakin maquette or figurine. And I don't know if they were selling it or giving it away or auctioning it away. I don't know what they did with it. But I was like, that would be something cool to have, just something like nobody else would have, but missed out on that one. All right, so I've been upping and downing these enough here for you, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it and grab these guys out, and we'll take a closer look at them. Okay, thanks for waiting for me to disappoint you here. So before I bring the package up here, yes, I got them removed from the boxes, but when I pulled the inner box out of the outer box, I realized the figures were still tightly wrapped with their cords in the box all the way around, and I have to say that I'm sorry, but I am not going to go through all that at this hour or at all, I suppose, because I'm not going to display these guys on their own. Excuse me. So what I'll do anyway is I'll just give you some close-ups here, because you can see them pretty good as it is, of the figures, and then just kind of discuss that a little bit. So yeah, here's Qui-Gon. I'll just start with him because he's definitely my favorite character out of the movie. I'm trying to get a picture of his boots there. So let me turn that into the light. If that, yeah, that looks a little good there. The detailing on these things is really, really good. Really accurate as far as I can tell. I haven't really gone back and looked at the films since this, or since I'm doing this. But the colors of everything look pretty good. The detailing and the sculpting, they did some good sculpting on the cloth. They didn't really get too far into texture of the fabric on the cloth, but you can see where they attempted to show stitching, and the paint job was really, really, really nice. And let me get up there on the hand. It's really nice and tight. They showing some relief in the sleeves. Good sculpting, but you can see the seams where they were put together. Now he's holding his lightsaber pretty fully, so you don't really see too much of it. If you know what his saber looks like, though, that they're like I do, it's really good rendition. They got a lot of the right details there. You get up close like this doing this macro thing, you can tell, the paint job is done by hand, and that's cool. I'm not totally in that. Fairly good likeness of Liam Neeson's face, and he was obviously a boxer in Ireland, and his half tail that he's rocking throughout the movie, really, and a lot of nice sculpting in the hair. It doesn't look too bad, and two-tone color, different shirt behind the jacket or the outer coat, and his utility belts. Everything looks really, really good. Very good likeness. I mean, they got it done pretty good. And his green lightsaber. I'm always down with the green lightsaber. Very Luke-ish. So when it comes to lightsaber lore, this thing keeps falling on me. Luke and Qui-Gon both having green lightsabers is very poignant. So yeah, there he is. Pretty cool. The stance puts him in a weird position in the box. If you leave him in the box, he's not facing directly out of this corner here. He's kind of looking that way, where the other two guys are kind of looking out this corner. So when you kind of put the boxes together, I can't quite have them on this little pyramidal point-to-point thing. It's kind of a weird situation, but that's the only gripe I have about it. So yeah, he's pretty cool. And I was, all of them, as you'll see, the likenesses in the face were startling for me, especially back then. They didn't really have the technology as it is now, so They did, but not to the level they did now. So a lot of this was good sculpting and good work on that. It wasn't just digital scanning and 3D rendering as they do now. Always a Liam Neeson fan, good Irish boy like myself, right? And we actually have the same birthday, although he's probably 2 decades older than me. But hey, that's all right. And a good foot taller. He's a big boy. Anyway, so yeah, that's a cool figure, a good action pose, and when you put these sabers in and light them up, they do light up really nice and bright. I mean, they that is kind of a cool thing. But for preservation, I just like to have them in their boxes and display them that way now. So that's what we'll be doing. All right. So pausing and bringing it back to Obi-Wan, and then we'll go from there. Okay, thanks for waiting on me. We're back with Obi-Wan now. We already kind of went over the manufacturing kind of or sculpting techniques and or whatever you want to say. Looking at Qui-Gon, so I won't really kind of go over too much of that here, other than just look at it so you can see it. Again, just good looking. I mean, well, they actually have the boot seams and so forth. Well done. Good color wash relief into the cracks and the crevices. Again, no real texturing. A little bit of texturing you can see there on the cloth, like downward stitching. And a little more texturing up here. Qui-Gon's was smooth. This one actually has a little more. You can see the lines in the texturing, so that's a good noticeable difference that I didn't see before until I start looking up close like this. You can see a little bit more of his lightsaber here, especially the pommel or the end of it, with the lobe and the metal bumps around it, similar to that boy right there. So, they did a good job getting that kind of represented. Got a good, although I think longer version of his braid. I don't think it was, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it was quite that long in the movie, but I think it might have come down to there, but I don't remember. Really, really, really good Ewan McGregor likeness. Almost in some areas kind of looks like Robert Patrick from Terminator, especially with that hairdo. But yeah, really good profile. They did a really good job with these and getting the faces down. Nothing was really articulated. Nothing really moves. I mean, the arms do have a bit of a up or down, but not much. They just they're pretty much in position. They just happen to not be static or molded in, but nothing really of a movement because they're molded down here, or at least you can see where they're all snapped together down here. Yeah, really, really nice likeness of Ewan, and kind of a good mid battle stance pose, not quite as aggressive as Qui-Gon's. He's kind of more pausing behind Qui-Gon, as it were, or off of the side. Yeah, good figure. And I did have to move these out. I had underneath this tray, just for safekeeping, I have all, 7 of my movie theater ticket stubs from the Phantom Menace in a little Ziploc bag just to keep them preserved. But I pulled that out of there. I didn't need to really have that in there. So, yeah, there's Qui-Gon, or I'm sorry, Obi-Wan. And, all right, I'm going to put it down and get them all out here and then look at him, and we'll go from there. Okay, thanks for waiting again, and we are back with finally Darth Maul. Um, Aside from Boba Fett, the most punked out character in the Star Wars mythology. Punked out like a biatch. This guy should have been through all three prequels, all the way to the end, having rose through the ranks, aside Palpatine, and being Vader's nemesis, only to have Vader overcome him, to become Palpatine's right hand. That's it. That's the storyline, man. You guys can argue me all you want. Dooku can go take a leap. Awful character. Unnecessary. That should have been it. You know? And that's it. That's all I can say about it. Maul was the... now for the storyline, yeah, Vader had to keep going because it's Vader, and Vader had to prove himself to be even badder than Maul. But Maul should have been wreaking havoc and being somebody you worried about through all the films, and they George, a stroke of genius with this character, and you had slippery, buttery fingers, and you dropped the ball and wrote him out, punked him out like Boba Fett. I mean, just shameful. I am so eternally grateful that you wrote him and thought of him and put him in the movie, and I loved every second that he was on screen. Ray Park, an amazing martial artist, a short little 5'7" man like myself, and a martial artist like myself, which I was training before I knew about Ray Park, but when I knew Ray Park was a legit wushu artist, martial artist, my respect level went up the roof for him. I myself train a style called Pai Lum Kung Fu, and I have not been actively training in the school for a number of years, but that's because, like everybody else, life and kids and finances, it speaks for your time. But I got a good 20 some years in before that, so I was able to keep it with me and do what I can when I can, and I just fell in love with the character absolutely because of his legit martial arts experience and style that they gave him. But he was still just a badass character. Yeah, I'm talking a little bit more about Maul than the other guys, but that's all right. And he should have. That was it. I mean, he was the perfect. He didn't have to be, the smartest character. He didn't have to be really plotting and foiling and all that. He was what he was. He was the muscle. He was the badass, and he was the one that everybody was afraid of. And it took Anakin turning to the dark side, becoming Vader, and being able to be the only one because of that to take Maul out. I mean, yeah, Qui-Gon had to go at some point. I would have loved to see him at least stay around for another film. I'm okay with him kind of going in the first film. That would have given the next two films a lot more time between Kenobi and Maul and Anakin to build up to what they were, and it would have been special. Absolutely. All right, so character profiles aside, and hang on a second. I'm going to pause you real quick. I'm bumping into something back here real quick. One second was what I was trying to say before I almost dropped the thing. Okay, so getting to the figure here, and talking about Ray Park, I would say that although this is a very highly detailed facial sculpt, and it's really, really, the tattoos are painted very, very, very nicely, I don't really think it looks all that much like Ray Park Darth Maul. It's just, I mean, Darth Maul's kind of Darth Maul. I guess you don't if you don't really need to be Ray Park, but I've seen, in newer, figures from all the other companies out there. They have done far better renditions of Ray Park's face at this point. So, this one's not really taking marks for looking like Ray Park, although it looks awesome. I mean, the detailing is amazing. His saber, very, very nice. I guess those are just the neural. Yeah, there's some physical relief on there. They're not just the flat painted knobs. Again, texturing on the clothing. The black clothing they try to matte it down. You can see it's kind of matted, but there's some areas where it's shiny and it looks plastic. I mean, the gloves should be kind of okay, but if they could have matted down the plastic a little bit more to look more like cloth, that would have been preferable, but it is what it is. The boots, again, not much. There's just your standard black combat boot, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what kind of boot he was wearing for them, but they got some kind of detail in there. So, and his double red saber, when that's hooked up and lit up, it's not quite as bright as Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's, but it does light up nicely. We need to get a little shot from the top here. The see-through to his tattoos on the top of his head are just pretty cool. I just wanted to get in that, and down through the saber hole, you can just to get a little look in the grip and so forth. So yeah, there's Maul. If you haven't gathered by now, my favorite. Yeah, I'm going to go on record. My favorite Star Wars character. Boba Fett, a close, super, super close second. And Vader running up third. So yeah, Maul definitely on top. But all right, let me go ahead and put him back in and get these guys up for one last look-see, and I'll be right back. All right, and we are finally back. Everybody's back in their little homes, and I've arranged them a little more easily to view on the wide view than I had them before. So here we are, the triumvirate, Maul in the middle as it was, and I'm feeling slightly inspired to go watch the Phantom Menace lightsaber battle. Again, just a little bit more of a word on Phantom Menace collectibles. When they came out with good ones, they came out with good ones. And the movie was definitely the impact, I should say, the movie had on some people I would hope was, at least for me, softened a bit by how super cool some of the collectibles were. And I have a few other things here that I'll be looking at later and talking about as far as the Phantom Menace stuff. These just were, a place and time and a special thing, and the memories that go along with it. And I can't believe that it's been 2 years already. I mean, the movie's old enough to drink now. That's crazy. So, yeah, and the other thing I was thinking about when I was just putting these back in, it just reminded me too. I mean, life at the time for a late 20s single guy in the late 90s was really just, it was because you're on the precipice of the millennium, a lot of things going on, and all mixing in to your overall experience and memories of things. and this was one of them. And that's what makes a lot of these collectibles special, is that tie into the rest of the way your life was at those times. So you can kind of, again, I use the word tangible for other things. You can go back and just connect directly to something about the way things were for you at the time. That's why people get this stuff and collect this stuff. You know, it's cool. And I was watching a lot of WWF at the time too. The Attitude Era was just mighty at the time, and just nothing else was really going on for me. Playing music, training, watching WWF, and watching and collecting Star Wars. That doesn't sound too bad to me once in a while. I might go jump on the WWF network isn't really there anymore. I think they're on Peacock now, but they got all the old shows up, and you can go back and kind of watch how ridiculous things were, but it was amazing ridiculous. So okay, we're clocking in on my time here. I usually don't want to blow more than 20 to 30 minutes on any one particular thing. That kind of wears down both of our interests after about that much time. So I'll let you guys go at this point, and if you have anything else to add or say or think or whatever, as always, be civil and like and subscribe and comment below, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.